The conversation ended hours ago. You said goodbye, you walked away, the moment is over. But your brain did not get the memo. You are lying in bed now, or driving, or trying to focus on something completely unrelated. And there it is again. That one moment. The thing you said that came out slightly wrong. The pause before they responded that lasted a half-second too long. The way their tone shifted near the end. Almost imperceptibly. But you caught it. And now your brain is running the tape back. You are rewriting your lines. You are rehearsing what you should have said instead. You are analyzing their expression for evidence of something you cannot even name. The conversation is over. But somewhere inside you, it is still happening. And the worst part is not the replay itself. The worst part is the shame that comes with it, because you know it is not rational. You know the other person has long since moved on. You know that whatever you said probably did not matter half as much as your brain keeps insisting it did. And you cannot stop anyway. People have a name for this. They call you too sensitive, too in your head, someone who cannot let things go. You have probably been told to stop caring so much what other people think, to just move on. And you have tried. You have told yourself the conversation is over. You have redirected your attention. You have even rehearsed phrases like, "it does not matter," hoping that if you repeat them enough, they will start to feel true. But the replay continues, and the failure to stop it starts to feel like its own kind of weakness. Like everyone else can shake these things off with ease, and you simply cannot. Society has a label for you. They call it oversensitivity, they call it insecurity. They call it being too needy of approval. And after years of hearing that diagnosis, you may have started to believe it. But there is a completely different explanation, because the diagnosis is wrong. You're not obsessing. You're not being dramatic, and you are certainly not broken. Your brain is doing something specific, deliberate, and deeply purposeful. Think of it this way. Every major organization that deals with security has a team whose entire job is to review footage after an incident. Not because they enjoy reliving what happened, because they are looking for something they missed the first time. A detail. A warning sign, a pattern that tells them how to stay safer next time. Your brain is that security team, and every conversation is surveillance footage it is reviewing for social threats. The reason it keeps running the tape is not obsession. It is due diligence. Your brain is asking, did something go wrong in there? Is that relationship safe? Did I say something that damaged the connection? And it will not close the case until it feels confident the threat has been properly assessed. The problem is not the review process itself. The problem is that the security team keeps the investigation running long past the point where more review actually helps. And today we are going to look at the neuroscience behind why your brain runs this review, why some people's systems run it longer than others, and how to teach your internal security team that the case is closed. To understand what is happening, we need to start with how your brain monitors social connection. Researchers studying social pain and rejection have identified a set of brain systems that continuously track acceptance, belonging, and social safety. Think of it as your brain's social monitoring system. It is not a personality quirk. It is a function built directly into the architecture of your nervous system. Your brain treats social connection as a survival need. One leading evolutionary explanation is that for our early ancestors, being rejected by the group was not just uncomfortable. It may have been fatal. No food, no shelter, no protection. And research suggests that some of the same brain regions involved in processing physical pain, particularly the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the insula, also respond to social rejection, which helps explain why a strained relationship can feel as urgent and visceral as a physical wound. So after every significant interaction, your brain runs a sweep. It is looking for evidence of fracture. Did the tone shift? Did something go unresolved? Is there a threat to the connection that needs to be addressed? Now here is the piece that many people do not know. Psychologists have a name for a heightened sensitivity to exactly this kind of signal. It is called rejection sensitivity. People with high rejection sensitivity spend significantly more time analyzing interactions for potential signs of disapproval than others. They notice the small things, the shift in tone, the half-second pause, the ambiguous expression, and their brain treats those small things as data that must be processed before the case can be closed. If you recognize yourself here, it is not because you are paranoid. It is because your monitoring system is calibrated to protect the things it values most. The second layer involves what psychologist June Price Tangnay identified as self-conscious emotions. These are emotions specifically triggered by social evaluation, embarrassment, shame, and guilt. What Tangnay's research revealed is that some people possess a psychological predisposition to respond to even the possibility of social disapproval with the same intensity that others reserve for actual disapproval. You do not need to have said something wrong for the emotion to fire. The mere possibility is enough, and because the emotion activates, your brain treats it as real data. The monitoring system picks up the signal. The post-event review begins, and the replay starts. Now here is the distinction that changes everything. Psychologist Susan Nolan-Hoeksema spent decades studying the difference between rumination and reflection. From the outside, they look identical. Both involve returning repeatedly to the same event, but they function very differently. Reflection tends to move toward insight or resolution. It examines an event with a goal, to extract meaning, understand what happened, or identify what to do next. Rumination, by contrast, tends to circle the same distress without producing useful answers. It amplifies rather than resolves. What happens for people like you is that your brain starts in reflection mode. It is genuinely trying to assess the situation. It is asking real, useful questions. Did I communicate clearly? Was I fair? Is there something I need to address with this person? But somewhere in the process, the review tips into rumination. The questions stop being investigative and become prosecutorial. Your brain is no longer looking for information. It is looking for a conviction, and it will keep looking until something interrupts the loop. Here is something important to hold on to. The review process is useful up to a point. Beyond that point, accuracy stops increasing and distress starts increasing. The replay is not worthless. It just has a point of diminishing returns that arrives much earlier than your brain thinks it does. And now here is the part that matters most. The reason your brain runs this review at such intensity is not random. It is directly proportional to how much you care about the people involved. Your social monitoring system does not activate equally for everyone in your life. It activates most powerfully for the connections that matter most. This is why you can shrug off a rude comment from a stranger, but spend 3 days replaying an ambiguous moment with someone you love. The replay is not anxiety for its own sake. It is a measure of investment. Your brain is working this hard because the relationship is worth working this hard for. That is not a flaw. That is loyalty. Understanding this matters, but understanding it does not automatically stop the loop. These 3 tools interrupt the review at different stages. Pick the one that fits where you are right now. One tool used consistently is worth more than 3 tools used occasionally. The first tool is called the case file. Your brain keeps running the tape because it has not formally closed the case. The security team is still on duty because no one gave them clearance to stand down. This tool gives the review a deliberate ending. After a conversation you know is going to replay, as soon as you can, take 2 minutes and do this. Write down or say out loud 3 things. What actually happened, just the facts, no interpretation, one thing you handled well, and one thing, if anything, you would address or do differently. Then say, either in your head or quietly out loud, case closed. You are not pretending everything went perfectly. You are giving your brain a formal signal that the review is complete. The file has been processed and filed. It does not need to stay open. Your social monitoring system responds to resolution. Give it one and it will stand down. The second tool is called the observer lens. This comes from research by psychologist Ethan Kross at the University of Michigan. When you replay a conversation in vivid first-person detail, many of the same emotional systems that fired in the original moment reactivate. The experience can feel surprisingly immediate, as if the event is happening now rather than in the past. What Kross found is that a simple shift in language substantially reduces that emotional reactivity. Instead of asking, "Why did I say that?" ask, "Why did your name say that?" Refer to yourself as if you are watching a character from a slight distance, not to escape accountability, but to create enough psychological separation that clearer thinking becomes possible. That extra distance tends to reduce the emotional intensity, and from that slightly calmer place, you can usually see the interaction more fairly than you could from inside it. It takes less than 10 seconds to make the shift. The third tool is called the review window. When the replay will not stop, when the case file is not holding and the loop keeps running, give it a container. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Tell yourself, for this 15 minutes, you are allowed to replay this fully. You are allowed to analyze it, rewrite it, feel everything you feel about it. no resistance. But when the timer ends, you are going to do one physical action. Stand up, walk outside, splash cold water on your face, do something with your body. This is not arbitrary. Physical movement forces a bottom-up shift in your nervous system, flooding your brain with movement and sensory signals that interrupt the top-down mental loop from below. Rumination is easier to sustain when you are inactive and alone with your thoughts. Physical movement disrupts that pattern in a way that mental effort alone often cannot. You honored the review. You gave it 15 minutes. Now you are moving. So here is what is actually true. You do not replay conversations because you are too sensitive. You replay conversations because your brain takes connection seriously. Your social monitoring system runs a thorough review because the people in your life matter to you. Your rejection sensitivity is high because you are not capable of half caring about the relationships you are invested in. The security team keeps reviewing the footage because it is protecting something valuable. That is not a malfunction. That is precision. The goal was never to shut the security team down. The goal is to teach it when the investigation is over. Close the case file. Use the observer lens. Set the review window. And the next time you find yourself lying awake replaying a conversation from 3 days ago, take a breath and remember this. Your brain is not tormenting you. Your brain is trying to protect something it loves. That is not a flaw. That is loyalty running a little too long. If your brain works this hard just to process a single conversation, it makes complete sense that being around people leaves you utterly exhausted. Because there is a neurological reason why some people recharge in a crowd and others need silence to recover, and understanding which type you are changes everything about how you design your relationships and your life. Click this video right here to find out why the people you love can drain you, and what to actually do about it. I will see you over there.